On the 28th of July 1944, an RAF Lancaster bomber took off from North Killinghome Air Base near Grimsby. It consisted of 7 crew members, including bomber Sgt Frederic Harold Habgood, aged 21. The plane never reached its target of Stuttgart. It was intercepted near Strasbourg and shot down. Sgt Habgood survived the crash, but was immediately betrayed to the Gestapo, and just 3 days later, he was hanged at the concentration camp Natzweiler-Struthof. He was survived by both parents, his older brother Ronald, and younger sister Madeline. The concentration camp was the only one in France, so has been preserved as a memory of those dark days. A recent discovery in the ash pit at the concentration camp has brought this piece of history back to life. I'm going to meet his niece and nephew, Marilyn and Paul.
Hi, Marilyn. I'm Marilyn. Come in. Nice to see you. Come in.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, so this is from your father in India to Freddie in Canada.
I'd imagine so, because he was in 1941 to 45. I think he was out there. Yeah.
But there was a bit of communication between the brothers.
Well, we found a letter that my father wrote to him. Funny things, really. He said, "Mum's got your grey pyjamas on." And I had herrings for supper.
Nice.
So it was just really funny. I think he was in hospital at some time, but there seems to be a page missing, so I'm not quite sure. But
I'd imagine it'd be nice sometime during 43 though.
Yes,
because that's when he was out in Canada.
My father, Ronald, was the eldest. There was only 13 months between my father and Freddie, and then there was another 4 years between Freddie and my aunt, their sister, Madeleine. Growing up, all we knew was that Freddie had been, killed during the war, and it wasn't until I was quite a bit older that I realised he'd actually been executed, and it really was never really spoken about. Certainly, when my father didn't want to talk about it. So, no, it's only in recent years we found out all the details. This one was written to his parents. So it says, "My dearest Mum and Dad, I was able to visit Auntie Gladys and Uncle Harry for a few hours before coming out here. They gave me a bracelet with RAF wings and name and number engraved for a graduation present. I was very sorry to say goodbye and hope that I shall be able to see them again after the war." So I think that's...
What date was that?
And that was dated the 29th of July, 43.
Oh, year to the day. He was taken to the only concentration camp in France, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this one's from the Air Ministry, and this is confirmation of his death and writing to my grandfather. So it's 31st of October 1947. It says, "Dear Mr Habgood, I'm writing to let you know about the death of your son, Sgt Frederic Harold Habgood. The aircraft went down near Molsheim at 1:50 a.m. on the 29th of July. Unfortunately, the Gestapo were warned and he was recaptured. Later that night, he was removed to the concentration camp where he was executed by hanging immediately. I'm deeply sorry to have to communicate this very sad news to you. I want to assure you of our deepest sympathy."
And what are you hoping for? You said there's a little discussion now about quite what status the identity discs have, but what would you like to happen to them?
Well, I think we would like to have it, back here as a family, and we have asked our aunt, and and she said she, as head of the family, what would she like? And we think it should go into a museum for everybody to see, and that we've got the story behind it. So
we could.
Maybe
some of these letters maybe
as go with
a story to be told. It would be maybe best to put it in a museum.
I'm flying to the Alsace region of France where I'm meeting Paul at the memorial near the crash site. So is this the actual site of the plane crash?
So the plane, I believe, crashed further up into the hills up there in the woods. But this is the commemorative stone. That's obviously my uncle, Freddie Habgood, and the other two, the pilot and sergeant. We've just seen the graves up in the cemetery of those two. So yes, lots of the information we found through Francis, who lives locally, his garage full of memorabilia from the plane and various other planes that he's sort of built up over the last 25 years. So.
And he had in his garage actual parts of your uncle's plane?
That's right, yes. He had even one part of the propeller, which weighed a huge amount, couldn't lift it off the ground. That was only part of it. So yes, big planes, and you can see why seven people had to be on board those.
After crashing in the forest, Freddie ended up at the Natzweiler-Struthof concentration camp. He was executed immediately upon arrival. 74 years later, a bracelet bearing his service details emerged from the soil of the camp ash pit. This is the first time Paul and Marilyn are going to be reunited with their uncle's treasured possession. How does it feel to see it and touch it?
It's a bit unreal, really, isn't it?
It's just amazing. I think it's just
that
amazing.
It survived. Yeah.
Really, I just think
Incredible.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm surprised at the detail that survived.
Yeah. And you can actually still
clearly
see the name and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean that item there that's in front of you has been held by your Uncle Freddie.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah. And I guess he's probably pretty much wearing it ever since he was given it back in 1943, right through till when he was shot down.
It's been through quite a lot now.
Yeah.
With a recent discovery like this, it reminds you that World War II ended just over 70 years ago, and the loss impacted people for decades after. While some people are hesitant to talk about what was lost, it is always remembered. Paul and Marilyn never knew their Uncle Freddie, but the discovery of his bracelet at the concentration camp has enabled his light to shine once more, and hopefully give solace to his surviving younger sister.